Hey guys, welcome back to the 4-4 podcast. It's your host, Tritium and Avici. And we have some special
Well,
guests like
just
as Joe, Dream, and Philoxy. Say hello.
Hello. Hello.
hello.
Yo,
Hello.
Okay, get the
Again.
hell out of here,
Alright.
Avicii. How's everybody doing on this fine evening slash afternoon?
yeah,
Um,
pretty good.
I'm, I'm
I'm doing
good. I'm
okay.
just sitting in my bed doing nothing, as per usual.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Trying to do an essay for one of my classes. It's a report on a book that I didn't read, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
So, um, conversation topic. It is the holy month of Ramadan. How is
right.
that like? Is that like celebrated in other parts of the world, like publicly, the
Uh,
same way? I don't know, like for example, Christian religious events are,
No.
or is it more like
Not really.
private?
I mean,
Nah.
in America, Christian events have kind of become like just like government events, basically. Like we have Christmas, but it's called like winter break, and everyone celebrates like quote unquote Christmas, but it's really just a day with your family. And then like the actual religious families like mine and some of my friends like actually like go to church and celebrate it for the religion part. But you know, Christianity was kind of like one of the big founding religions of America, so that's probably why it's so popular. But things like Ramadan and I know like Hanukkah, we have like more so with Hanukkah because it's just like I don't know, I guess more popular here, but
Yeah,
and
you
you
have
have
a
like
large Jewish population, don't you?
yeah, you have like Ben Shapiro who will like go on his show and say like, happy Hanukkah guys or and actually like announce it, but we don't have that many we don't have that big of a Muslim population in things like the news or stuff like that. So, I know of Ramadan, but I don't know of anyone celebrating it basically. Like there's communities of people who get together at their mosque and stuff that celebrate it, but it's not as big as some of the other holidays.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
It's obviously a really big thing in Dubai because Dubai is a Muslim country, but it's also like a really like wholesome time to be in Dubai. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Islamic and neither is my family, but every Ramadan like it's encouraged to give to the less fortunate, like pretty much any like religious holiday kind of encourages you to. So
Right.
like there's a lot of opportunities too. So like it's nice. Like every Ramadan I give like my old clothes to like poor families that need it and my driver who is pretty much like part of the family, he like will cook for like the labor communities and he'll give them food for iftar every day.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is for like most of the holidays here too. Because
Yeah.
America's, I think, most Americans like you'll have people who are still religious, but a lot of people don't like. It's not like it used to be, like where it was like I don't know. I don't want to say government sponsored because we've always had separation of religion and government, but it's become more of like a just a time for people to be with each other rather than like a religious time. Basically, like you were saying, like Christmas time, we have the people outside the stores with like the baskets for to put money in for like the Salvation Army, and you can like go to food banks. There's a lot of food banks that like have like a Christmas dinner, and you can go volunteer there or bring food to them. So it's kind of like that here as well. Um, I don't know where Joe is, but I know for
Yeah,
Joe
I'm here.
it's probably
Just,
similar. No, I'm talking about
yeah,
like
I mean,
location wise for religions because I kind of told you about America, like how it is in America, but he was asking about like
yeah.
other countries.
Yeah, pretty much the UK is pretty much the same because it's just like, we're heavily Christian, but we do have like a high Muslim population as well. So, like, Ramadan is quite celebrated in areas, I guess. Yeah, it's been a bit hard though this kind of year around because like coronavirus and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
My math teacher is a really nice guy and I like have a lot of conversation like in the class. My because I have a really small classroom for maths, which I'm actually really lucky about because it's better that way because you like have like a closer circle for the group, and like we'll all chill in class and like we'll instead of like doing the work if like we finish early, we'd like get into like a conversation about our lives. And my math teacher is a Muslim and he used to live in the UK. And he said that it was really nice there to celebrate Ramadan because there's a lot of Muslim population, like a large Muslim
Yeah.
population there.
You see, it kind of depends, like, what areas. Like, see, I'm from the North England, so it's just, like, it varies a bit. Like, we don't have, like, a very high population. It's just, you know, it is what it is. It's more like down, like, London, I suppose.
Yeah, he used to live near London. He went... Imperial is in London, right? The university.
I think so. I'm not too sure.
Oh, okay. I'm not too sure either, but he lived near that university because he went to that university for school.
Yeah.
So have you guys been dealing with the whole global pandemic situation?
I was about to ask that, man. Personally, I've been like on and off about it. Like, I got to sneak out once, and like that was risky because, like, a couple days after I did, I was reading about the fines, and there's huge fines for like breaking curfew, and I didn't even know. So I was like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. Yeah, here it's been, we have the stay-at-home orders, but it's like necessary travel, but like there's still kids outside playing in the neighborhoods, and like, people can still go visit their friends. It's more of just like no large gatherings.
Oh.
And a lot of stores have made it like company policy to have their customers wear masks and stuff. And like some of the hair salons are starting to open back up, but there's requirements like you have to wear a mask to go in, and all the workers are wearing masks and gloves. And when you're paying, you have to pay with card. Like barely anyone's accepting cash these days for obvious reasons. But and you have to they have like spots on the floor marked off where you have to stand at the register so you're far enough away from the people working there.
Yeah.
And like
it's pretty much the same here.
Yeah, most food places have been like closing down their dine-in areas. Like if you go to a fast food place, you can only get drive-through, or if you go to like Chipotle, you can go in and like pick out your food, and then you have to take it to go. Like their seating area is closed.
Yeah, everywhere's closed here. Just like there's nowhere open apart from like supermarkets. You can still like go out for walks and work and stuff, but there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
Anymore.
I know in some of the worst states, like the states with a lot of infections, like California and stuff, they're actually like having police enforce the stay-at-home. But like you literally can't leave your house unless you're going to get groceries or something. But like over where I live, you can go to like see your friends and stuff. I mean, I'm not allowed out of the house just because I'm staying with elderly family members. I don't want to get them sick because of the risk for older people. But I know
I haven't left
like
my house
Sorry, go ahead.
It's been like I left my house once in like about a month and a half, just because my mom is susceptible.
Yeah, I mean it's been rough, I guess. It's definitely nothing like too crazy. Like it's not like I can't handle it. Just you kind of go insane being in the same house with the same people 24/7.
Yeah, I feel that. That's just. I'm going to say. You may not be able to tell it, but I'm just going insane right now.
Yeah. I mean, my sleep schedule is effectively flipped upside down. Like I get up. Most of my shifts are in the evening now because I do online work because I'm just doing part time that I was doing with school. But now that the schools are closed, my shifts are a little bit earlier. But I'll sleep until like 1-2 o'clock, and then I'll wake up. And my shift will be at like 4, so I'll have something to eat, do my shift, and then I'll just play video games till like 4 in the morning, and then go to sleep. And then like my sleep schedule is literally flipped upside down.
I didn't get any sleep last night. I just stayed up and just like sat on my iPad all night.
Yeah, it was actually kind of funny last night. It kind of brought me down to earth again. Like I know I don't have too big of an addiction to Wi-Fi and stuff, but last night we had a really bad storm here, and like I was in literally like on the news maps, you know, you're always like, oh, thank God I'm not in the red. I was literally in the red, and
God.
there's trees coming down. It was like a mini hurricane. I think they said there was tornadoes, and that was why there was so much wind. But with like there was hail and all that stuff, and it was like huge pieces of hail, and so our Wi-Fi ended up going out, and so like I was trying to watch YouTube. Like it's really bad cellular connection. I was trying to watch YouTube, and like every 5 minutes, my video would start buffering. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to bed. I fell asleep at like 9:30 and woke up at 9 in the morning. I'm like, holy crap, I feel good. It was definitely a change of pace.
You see, we've been having like the opposite here. Like, just the weather's been so nice, but I bet you as soon as lockdown ends, it'll start raining. Like, it'll just be rain. Like, as soon as just we're allowed back out again.
It'll be what? What'd you say?
It'll be like raining again. Like once we're allowed back
Oh
out.
yeah,
It's just been such sunny weather like over the last few weeks, and then
yeah. My friend in the
do
UK
some
is
rain.
actually saying something about that. They're like, it's been so sunny, but of course we're not allowed outside.
Yeah, I've just been like sitting in the garden, just drinking and stuff.
Yeah. He's like, I'm sure it'll be horrible weather again as soon as we're allowed to actually go places.
Yeah.
I don't
Where
really
live,
feel that
usually
last
around.
one.
Sorry.
Oh
Where I
no,
live,
no, go
usually
ahead.
around usually where I live, this time of year is like really, really bad weather. Like just lots of rain, and it's just like sometimes it's cold. But yeah, like the past few weeks, it's been super nice out, sunny, warm. Sucks
Yeah.
balls.
It's pretty nice right now. I think I'm in the same state as you right now. And
Yeah, but we live on like different sides of the state. I'm way up
Yeah.
north.
I mean, I'm central, so I don't think it's too much different. I know, because I was looking at the storm, and I know up by the Northern Virginia was pretty bad with the storm, though. I don't know if it hit you, but it looked pretty bad. It wasn't red. It was like yellow, I think, which is 2 steps down. But
No,
it's been
it
like
didn't rain
60.
here.
It's a nice 60 all week, so I can't complain.
Yeah, it's just been cloudy, no rain or anything. It missed us. I think it was up north.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely nicer out here by the, because it's like central, but we're only like, where I'm at right now is only like 2 hours from the ocean. And it's a lot different from where I go to school, because I go to school in Western Virginia, which is like right on the border of Virginia and West Virginia. And it's like the mountains, and it's really cold out there all the time. And I like it because I like the cold. I'm from up north, New York, so I'm used to the cold, but it's just, sometimes it's really cold. Like it'll be 60 one morning when you wake up, and then that afternoon it's 30 degrees and snowing. So kind of a gamble what you wear that day.
Like what I don't understand about how the U.S. is handling it is that you guys have it like the harshest, but like the precautions are the lightest in the U.S. from like at least from what I've seen compared to Europe.
Well, you got to look at population, because a lot of like graphs will show you like, oh, U.S. has so many cases, but like compared to Italy's population versus infected ratio was a lot worse than ours. Like, yeah, we have like, I don't know the number. I don't know. I want to say Italy's. I'm probably going to be completely wrong, but I think Italy is like, let's say 1/3 of the U.S. population, and out of that, I think
that might be a little like accurate. I think the U.S.
Yeah.
population is 300 million.
I think it's somewhere like that. But I know Italy was like ravaged. Like they, when the numbers first came out, I was watching the news, and the guy was talking about how they had like 300 deaths one day. And like, if you take that ratio, 300 deaths to the current population of Italy, that's basically like how many people died in 9/11. Basically, like they basically had 3 9/11s in a row. If you want to think about it as like deaths to population ratio. So I know it's a lot worse for those countries only because they have less people.
Yeah.
But I know, yeah, I do know what you're saying with the precautions in the US are a lot more chill than most. I mean, we definitely have the 6 feet radius is definitely something that's in place. And like I said, where there's more infections, there's police enforcement on most of the precautions. But like I know Virginia right now, I think we're one of the states that has the least amount of infected, thankfully. But we still have all the stores closed, and they're still taking precautions like wearing masks and not taking cash. But I know there is like some graphs that do take population to infection. I haven't seen the updated one yet, but I know we were getting pretty close to being the most infected by like per capita. But at last I checked, we weren't, and so that's why my mentality is like, okay, we don't have the most, like we have a lot just because of our population, but we don't have the most, and I think right now, we're doing pretty well on precautions. I mean, then you have those idiot people that are still going out and like in large groups and hanging out and going to the beach and stuff, and those people are a problem, and that's why some states like California are implementing fines and taking police precautions, like actually enforcing it with police.
Yeah.
Like I know there was this one video I saw, and this lady had a birthday party anyway, even though I think it was in California too, which is probably one of the worst places to be right now in terms of the infection. But I know they were having a birthday party for, I think, their 6-year-old daughter, and basically the police showed up with like a helicopter and a line, like a wall of policemen, just to break up the party because it was such a big public health risk.
Jeez.
So yeah, I mean it's there's definitely precautions, but I do see where you're coming from by saying we don't have as many as most states. That is definitely true. But like, for example, one of our states is almost as big as like the USA is almost as big as all of Europe. So it's like each state is almost like its own little country. So it's kind of like depends on which state you're in for the precautions.
Yeah. See, we're getting some like weird cases here because basically the county that I live in is a bit like a tourist hotspot because we've got like lakes and mountains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So people have been like trying to come up like from here from like down south and stuff, but being stopped by the police like on the main roads, and then just being sent back down south because obviously it's non-essential travel.
Well, I know, like for Florida, the governor has banned travel from California and New York, and I think another state where the infections are so rampant. He's literally said no one can drive in, no one can fly in, no one's allowed in from those states to come into Florida, and he has like police checkpoints and stuff. And I think that's just a precaution right now because I don't think Florida has been hit too badly. I mean, obviously there's infections all over the place, but compared to New York, I don't think they're as bad right now. But I know like New York and San Francisco and Nevada, those are all like big tourist places. And I was on the news this morning. The mayor of Nevada, the mayor of Las Vegas, not Nevada, was actually planning on opening her city back up just as a control group to see how many people get infected. I'm like, that's probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Well, apart from Trump saying that you need to inject disinfectants.
Well, there's actually there's actually been many cases of that. There's a disinfectant that's used to treat one of the STDs. I don't remember, but I was talking about it with someone on Twitter yesterday about I was talking to someone about that, and I think he was being sarcastic when he mentioned that, which is poor taste in my opinion. I'm not defending him in any way, but I know that the U.S. media has taken it a lot out of context in a sense. Like even if he wasn't joking, disinfectants are not bleach. Like bleach is a disinfectant, but there are medicinal disinfectants that can be put in the human body to treat infections and stuff. And so I think both parties are at fault here because that was kind of like a poor joke to make at this time. But I definitely do think that it's being blown out of proportion by some people. Like I know some of the other people, like Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton, directly came out and said Trump said drink bleach, which he never said. So, and then the media picked that up, and it's all over the news. That's kind of just how it's been since basically 2016 with our news system. So I think a lot of things you have to actually like sit down and do like research yourself to actually get the real like facts, because like I don't know, whenever I hear like a news story, I fact check it with like 3 other news sources just to see like, okay, this news source is saying this, but these 2 news sources are saying that, and then I'll look for like any official documents, like maybe a press report or something like that, to see what actually was said. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just a wild time, and I kind of wish there's been a lot of political problems in America since like March, and I kind of wish it would all just take a break until this pandemic was over, because like there's things that don't need to be worried about right now that should be, they should be putting the brain power and the money behind stopping this infection in it, but they're not, and I'm kind of disappointed because like these are people that we voted for, and they're not taking it seriously. That's my TED talk. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't like that guy Trump's handling of coronavirus like from the beginning.
Yeah, I see where people are coming from when they say that. I mean, there's definitely
not just to put on Trump, the Trump administration. It'd be wrong if I just put all the blame on him as a person. Just he is responsible for his party.
Yeah, there's definitely some things I would have done differently at the beginning there, but now I think it's being handled a lot better, and I think definitely at the beginning that it should have been taken more seriously, because I do know that like the World Health Organization and Trump and that the Surgeon General were all like, oh, it's not going to be that big of a deal, it'll hit America, but we're prepared for it, and then like literally a week later when the first case got here, and then like 2 days later there was 15, and then like a week later there was like 1,000. I think it spread really rapidly, and then like immediately the doctor came out and said, I'm predicting 2 million cases and 15,000 deaths or something like that. And it's like, well, last week you were saying it's not a big deal, so which is it? So I definitely see where people are coming from when they're saying like, I wish it was handled better at the beginning, because I do too. But I think it's being handled a lot better now, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
You see,
I mean,
just
I was
thinking of it.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you go.
All right. Thinking about it from like a politician's point of view, I understand why Trump didn't act like with an immense panic from the beginning, and like if you think about it, like let's say Trump acted like with a lot of panic from the beginning. It could go 2 ways. Either it gets bad anyways, and then like okay, he looks like the tryhard, and like maybe that's good for his rep. But like let's say like he fucking puts in immense precautions, and it works. Like people aren't gonna fear what isn't there, so they're not gonna fear coronavirus, and then they're gonna have a disliking for Trump for all of the precautions he's put, because they're not seeing any negative effects of it. You know what I mean? Like the human mind is working like that.
Yeah, but there's another problem that comes into play with American politics too, because even when he did ban travel from the Middle East and China during the beginning of the outbreak in America, even when he did that, a lot of people came out saying he was racist because he didn't want Chinese people coming in and all that stuff. Meanwhile, he was making sure that all Americans could get back home safely if they were unaffected. And he basically didn't want more people traveling, not because they were Chinese, but because of the area they're in. They're in the hotspot of the virus, so it's likely that they could carry it. And so I definitely see what you're saying, like looking from a politician's standpoint, because even from my standpoint, looking like on from a distance, I thought closing down the borders were pretty smart. And it's not like it's a permanent thing. It's not like it's because we don't want that culture in America. It's because we don't want people transmitting the virus in America. And I think that's a smart thing. But of course, you're always going to have those people that dislike everything that a certain person does. I'm not going to say Trump, because I know there's a lot of things happening on the other side of the aisle right now that a lot of people aren't liking. And there are things that could be a good thing, but people are still always hating and being like, even though you're trying to do something good, I'm going to hate on it anyway. And I think that's just a big problem we're having right now. And it's worrying me, because I'm a younger adult, and so I'm kind of coming into this late, and this is my future, and it's kind of worrying me. But it is what it is, and all I can do is follow it, and vote for the right people that I believe are going to make a difference, and all that. But I definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah, the good thing is that I mean, like, morbidly good. Like, what's good when there's economic crisis.
Yeah.
But our age demographic, statistically speaking, is the most likely to have an increased number of entrepreneurs and successful business owners because of the economic crisis.
Yeah, ours is like that too. I was looking at my generation for America, like just my generation in America, and I see that a lot of people are more economically smarter because of the way they were brought up. Because college prices have risen drastically since my grandparents were in college, and even my mom was in college. I think she went to college for like $5,000 a semester, and here I am paying $30,000 a semester. So these economic factors are definitely affecting my generation, and I'm kind of happy that we're more economically smarter. And I do see, like, my cousin, who's only, I want to say 7 years older than me, he just started his own business, so that's pretty cool. And I think his little brother, who's like 3 years older than me, is starting one too. So it's definitely something that I'm happy for our generation, I guess, 'cause I think we're all pretty close in age. Were you trying to say something earlier, Joe, or Trey? I don't want to keep cutting people off.
I've completely forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something about like the UK government and stuff. Basically, it's like I think like Boris could have done some stuff better, but then again, like he's following the advice of the officials in the government that like understand this stuff and understand what to do when lockdown came. Like at a time where it was just like the cases were going up and up, and it was just. Yeah, I think they could have acted a bit sooner, and we maybe wouldn't have had such an increase. But like I say, it's just because obviously the government will follow the advice of the officials, so that's just kind of how I see.
Yeah, the mistake that the UK had made initially is that they wanted to try and like establish herd immunity.
Yeah,
before like they knew the scope of the virus, because like China was like squashing its numbers, and it made it look like coronavirus wasn't as serious as we now find it to be. And herd immunity doesn't work with such an infectious virus, because when you have herd immunity, you want around like 60, 70, even sometimes 80% of the population to have gotten it. But I can guarantee you that the amount of people older than 60 years is definitely more than 20% of the population, and that means that there is going to be a population that has a very high risk of being killed by the virus.
Yeah.
But like even at that point, then you have to point the finger at China a little bit and say, why weren't you honest?
I mean, it's China. There's nothing else to expect from them. Of course, they're gonna lie. They want to look good. I can't tell you, when I lived there, every time some public official came to Beijing, they shut down all the factories, and all the pollution, the air pollution would dissolve. They'd seed the clouds. It would rain. They'd have all the factories shut down, and it would be nice. Like, it would be beautiful out, blue skies and everything. But like. That's just to look good, because that's what China wants. They want to look like the person leading the world. They want to look like these are the people you should look towards. It's just how they are. I mean, they don't want to be remembered as those people who started the worldwide pandemic. Like that's not what they want. So of course they're going to lie. Not saying that they should have. I'm not trying to defend them, but it's just what I would expect from China.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too political with. I'm trying to stay unbiased with my comments right now, but I definitely thought it was pretty shocking that I want to say like a month ago, one of the Chinese doctors came out and said this could have been a local pandemic instead of a global pandemic, or a local outbreak. My bad. And that it would have been controlled a lot better if they had actually done what they were supposed to. And then that same doctor went missing like a week later. So I thought that was pretty shocking, and I don't want to make any comments on it because I don't want to be too political. But take it for what it is. I think some things were not handled right in the beginning, and that's led to where we are now.
Definitely.
I mean, people
Also-
disappearing in China has happened for a while now.
Yeah, I know, but you gotta. But it makes you wonder. Someone who is just on the news.
Yeah, I mean,
she
it
was
goes
like
to
a-
show, like, it
She was a
fits in
big-
with all the other stories.
Yeah, she was a major doctor too. I don't remember what her position was, but she wasn't like some random doctor from a hospital. I think she was one of the government doctors or something. Like we have the sorry, I can't talk. Surgeon General. I don't know what they have over there, but I think she was pretty high up. Also, this thing, I don't know you guys' opinion on it, but this is like the fourth time I see it happen. First, I see Kim Jong-un is in critical condition, and now I see he's rumored to be dead. So I don't know what you guys' opinions on that is, because like it's not been confirmed anything yet, but I don't know why it's all over the news.
I would wait till I
Yeah.
get like a confirmed news source.
Yeah,
I mean, I see a link that Lord's posted in Maine. It's from TMZ, which can be a bit iffy, really.
Well, no, this one's from the one I'm looking at is from New York Post, which has been they're pretty biased, but they're usually not like wrong when they say something. They're biased, but they're not going to say, Michael Jordan just died from a heart attack, and then Michael Jordan tweets later, "Oh, I see, I died. Actually, I didn't." So I know they said rumored, so that's why I'm asking like what you guys think. And it's apparently coming from like Hong Kong and Japanese officials saying it. So
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I think he's dead just because they wouldn't have said anything if it was just him being susceptible to the virus.
yeah.
Like knowing North Korea, they're even worse than China. Like they keep everything secret. If it was just something where like, oh, he's in critical condition, like they don't want to make their leaders look like that. They want to make their leaders look like gods, pretty much. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's all the
that's
propaganda.
kind of how a dictatorship
So
works.
the fact that they talked about it is a big red flag that something is very wrong.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing, because I don't think North Korea has made a statement. I think it's only been like Japan and Hong Kong,
That's
which are obviously outside nations.
I mean,
That is true.
I think of course I don't speak Korean, but like on some news article I had read like a couple days ago when this first like came into the news, like there was some like video from a North Korean outlet, and it was talking about saying that Kim Jong-un was like missing some ceremony to his father or grandfather. I'm not sure.
Oh
which
yeah, I
one.
saw that one.
Yeah, and I think that's the only thing that North Korea has said about it.
Yeah, I mean, they did say that he was undergoing a surgery that was a risky surgery, but I don't think they ever made a report about him being in critical condition or being dead. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird how big it like even like I don't even even BBC said something about it. Or
Yeah, I saw an article the other day actually. I'll see if I can find it now.
I mean, BBC is your major news source over there, right?
Yeah, I mean obviously we pay for it, so it's
yeah.
has to
It's
be
kind of like
trusted.
It's kind of like Fox News over here because we have to pay for Fox News, and I think
Yeah,
it's one of the trusted ones. I mean, it definitely shows bias sometimes, but it's more trusted than like the New York Post and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean the BBC obviously has like a conservative kind of bias, but
Yeah,
then again they do get the stuff kind of right. I was
Yeah.
shared a
Fox
link
is
in Maine.
Republican, right?
yeah. Conservative is Republican in America. I don't know the party system in the UK.
Well, there's quite a few parties in the UK. There's Main two Conservative and Labour Party,
Okay.
and they're the ones that usually just the ones in power.
Yeah, the
And then there's, like,
Conservative.
there's,
Go ahead.
there's like you go ahead.
I was just gonna say the Conservative Party is basically like America's Republican Party. I think Philoxera knows a good bit about America, so I'm just trying to make it like a relation for him.
Yeah. So
Fair enough.
there's like other parties like UKIP and that, but they don't usually get much in terms of seats and
Oh,
like each election.
UKIP's the far right one, isn't it?
They never used to be that far right, but then they turned really far right, which is why Nigel Farage didn't want anything to do with them anymore.
Uh-huh.
yeah. I know our political party system's kind of falling apart right now on one side, but that's kind of just.
Especially because like Bernie Sanders, how well he did.
Well,
That
he
was
did so
crazy.
well, but most of the Democrats didn't like him because he was too radical. And when a
I know, but
party, go ahead.
the people it was mostly younger
Yeah,
younger people who were in support of Bernie, and it was more liberal leaning people to like it was that was the demographic that
yeah,
they were pretty much saying like, oh, these are going to be people who are going to vote for the Democratic Party, but such a huge portion of them are going like pretty extreme, like past the Democratic Party's like views, and they're going for Bernie Sanders. And you have to look like what's the future for the DNC, because
yeah.
that
Well, I know.
whole generation is totally shifting from what
Yeah,
was expected.
I know this current generation, the ones that are just turning 18, like just being able to vote. I think it's I want to say Gen Z is what I've read.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
Yeah,
that
that's
is
right.
Gen Z, but I think they're saying Gen Z is supposed to be one of the most conservative groups, which I find surprising because of how
that's
many.
what I saw too.
Yeah, like we're supposed to be one of the most conservative groups since the baby boomers, which were the 20s, I think.
No, baby
I don't know
Boomers
how
were-
accurate that
I think
was.
that's like
So I saw that article, but I
1946.
don't actually.
No, because my grandpa's not a
Yeah.
boomer, and he was in the 30s.
Yeah, my
No,
grandparents
boomers
were
were
boomers.
born like the reason it's called baby boomers is because they're the generation that that started as soon as World War II ended.
Oh, right, it is. Okay,
Everyone came
yeah,
back
my
from
grandpa's
World War
not a
II.
boomer, that's right. Yeah, it's 1946 to the 64. That's the baby
Yeah.
boomers.
Oh, okay.
And then it's the
So
millennials,
my
right? No,
dad's
no,
a
no.
boomer.
No,
Then
Gen
it's the
X.
silent generation.
Yeah, Gen
Gen
X.
X,
Wait,
and
no.
then
How
the
does it work,
millennials.
dude? I forgot.
It's the baby
Yeah.
boomers, then Gen X, then millennials, which is like Gen Y,
Yeah,
but no one calls them
yeah.
that. And then it's Gen Z, which is this generation. I think we're called the
I think the one,
centennials.
the babies being born right now, I think it was Generation Alpha or something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the newest
something like that.
generation I think is the newest generation. I don't remember. Let me look it up.
See, it's called Alpha.
It is.
I think
Oh,
that's what it's
cool.
called.
All right,
Yeah, just getting back in.
and cut here, right here, Avicii.
Yeah.
Start at this point right now. When I say 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean 1, 2, 3. There we go.
We got
So-
there.
Yeah, 2010 is the end of Gen Z. So
Yeah.
Oh, so there's a new generation.
Dang,
That's
bro.
yeah,
He also
Generation
says-
Alpha.
2010 or 10
It
years
also says
ago.
like listed here, like it's
No
called
way
like
are they
iGen
getting called
as
the
well.
Generation Alpha. I wish I was
Yeah, they
born in
are.
2011.
Yeah, I wish I was a part of the Alpha generation.
No, but it's gonna be like the Greek Alpha, not like the Alpha Chad. Don't worry. Yeah, it's the Greek. It's the Greek letter for Alpha. I don't remember the Greek name for it, but because I only
It's
in physics we
Greek.
only use alpha.
Yeah, I know. It's called Alpha. Like that's the.
It is okay. I didn't know because we also had mu, which we used for y sometimes. So I wasn't sure.
Mu is like the M in Greek.
Yeah,
It
that's
looks like a
the
letter, yeah.
coefficient of friction, but sometimes we called it y. So
Yeah.
I was confused about that.
Oh, no way you guys called it Y. That's such a disrespect. No.
I don't know. My physics teacher was 24, and it was his second year out of college. His first year out of college, he taught astrophysics to incoming freshmen or incoming sophomores at his college that he graduated from. And he was also already recommended. He got his master's degree in 4 years. He got his bachelor's and master's degree in 4 years, and he was he's reviewed by the board and approved to go for his doctorate. Like this guy was genius. like 4 years of college, and he was already recommended to get a doctorate. So that was pretty crazy. He was a genius.
So
Yeah.
what?
See,
you get a doctorate
at school
after
I went
2 more
to.
years or something?
You go.
Yeah, well, you have to do. I think you have to do 2 more years of school, but you also have to do like a. You have to do like this. I don't remember the term for it, but it's kind of like a project that you have to do in your field of study, which I think he said he was going to do in physics or chemistry. I think actually, and so basically you'd have to do like a project that is based off either physics or chemistry. That's kind of like groundbreaking research in the field, basically.
I think that's called
Yeah,
a
see-
dissertation. I'm not too
Oh
sure.
yeah, the
Just
dissertation.
dissertation or like a thesis or something.
Yeah, Yeah, you have to do the thesis to get recommended, I think, because I think he
Yeah.
said he already did it, and then you do your dissertation, which is like the project, or like you usually have to write a book on it. I know in Friends they did something about like Ross from Friends got his doctorate and he had to do a dissertation. There was a whole episode about his book in the library, and no one read it because it was boring.
Oh yeah, I remember that episode. And it turns
Yeah.
out that where his book was is like some hookup place in the library.
Yeah, in the library. Yeah, I thought the episode was pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good episode.
Yeah, but anyway, my physics teacher just had like no chill. Like he's like one of my friends, and we were all seniors in the class, and one of my friends is like, he's like, so what are your plans for after high school? And one of my friends is like, oh, I want to do chemistry, and maybe work for the government as like a scientist. And my teacher goes, yeah, I think you need to find a new plan. I'm just like, oh no.
Ooh, no.
Oh, that's kind of harsh.
Well, my chemistry teacher my sophomore year was kind of similar. One of my other friends, it's like, yeah, I want to go to this school, and it's one of the really good engineering schools in America, and that's where I'm actually going now. And he's like, yeah, I want to go there. And our teacher had gone there, so he kind of like knew the ropes a little bit. And I guess he was on like the alumni counselor or whatever. They give like scholarships out to students, and they help with like recommendations to go into the school. And he's like, I think you have a chance, but you not so much. So all of my science teachers have kind of been very like brutal and savage, and like they'll tell you how it is.
Yeah.
So I mean that was kind of tough in high school, but
Yeah. See, my chemistry teacher through year 10, 11 was he has a doctorate, but he just wasn't very good at teaching at all. Basically,
yeah,
I'm surprised I even passed chemistry in the end. Like when I got my GCSEs, I was just like, well, I passed it. I mean, I got
Yeah.
the lowest like possible grade, but I still passed it because he was just such a shit teacher.
That's something I've noticed about like really smart teachers, because I had like my 9th grade English teacher had a doctorate, and she was like a reporter at one point, and so she also led our yearbook team. But she was like a really smart person. Like she had read so many books. She like memorized one of the chapters from War and Peace. Like she was, she was pretty smart, and she just couldn't teach. She literally couldn't teach. Like if you asked her a question, if you were specific with it, like, I'm having trouble with this part of my essay. I think there's supposed to be a comma here, 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 and I think this sentence is a run-on or something. She'd be like, oh yeah, this is how you fix it. But like trying to teach material, she just couldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think like towards the end of just like year 11, I kind of realized that I should have just been like teaching myself this whole course the whole time.
Yeah, I learned that very fast with my high school, because my high school was kind of like a college preparatory, so they had like a lot of really smart teachers, but they weren't that good at teaching. So a lot of times I kind of just had to teach myself, and if I had any questions, I just had to remember to be specific about it, and then I'd do fine that way. But I did have this one really bad teacher in 9th grade, and she was actually a replacement for a replacement. So we had a teacher who ended up getting deployed because he was in the reserves, and he ended up getting deployed, and so they had like a replacement lined up in that case, because they had kind of like had some idea that he was going to get deployed. Like they had like, I think he gets like a report. I don't know too much about deployments, but I do a lot of research on the military, but I don't know too much about deployments. And I think he had like some sort of like notification saying, hey, we might need you to deploy this year. So they had like a replacement lined up. and that replacement ended up bailing, so they were like scrambling to find this new teacher. She was the worst teacher I'd ever had. Absolutely awful. And she made us do this one project. It was like this ecology project where we had to go out and find like certain specimens from different families and species, and I think we had to find like 50 different things. So like you had to find like 3 mushrooms from different families or genomes. I can't remember the terms. I'm not that good at biology because I had a terrible teacher. I never really learned anything in there. But you had to find like a certain amount of mushrooms. You had to find like a jellyfish. I live nowhere near anywhere that has a jellyfish. The nearest aquarium to me is like 3 hours away. So that was a fun experience. And so like at the end, I needed like 5 more things. So I literally just took a picture of myself and did like Homo sapien. I took a picture of my dog. I took a picture of my cat. Like I just gave up. And for one of the mushrooms, it was in like the middle of the spring, and the mushrooms don't really come out till the fall because that's when it's really moist here. And so I ended up taking a mushroom that is like an edible mushroom, like that you could like cook up and eat, but it's native to the state I was in at the time, New York. And so I put it in my backyard in like a mulch bed where mushrooms usually grew. They're just not that time of season. And she's like, "That looks like a mushroom you took out of your fridge and put in the backyard." And so my mom was pissed. She's like, "How dare you take away points from my son based off an assumption?" And the teacher's like, I'm so sorry. The whole time my mom knew that I planted the mushroom there. It was an experience. It was one of the worst projects I've ever done for school. But that was my 9th grade biology experience, and it was not fun.
My biology class last year was very textbook. We didn't do many like projects and stuff. Just a lot of memorization. And I don't even remember any of this shit. Like, we didn't do anything, so I can't remember. You know?
Yeah, that's basically me. Like, I somewhat remember what mitosis is, but that's about it. I know photosynthesis and mitosis.
Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Yes, I know that too. I definitely know that.
They put me in the class with all of like it was half and half. It was half like the like students because it wasn't an intensified class. But you know, be my luck, I got put in the class with all of like the fucking like black kids, like the fucking retards who have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Like this one kid showed up to class high every single day. I mean, it was fun. Like I didn't really learn anything.
Yeah. I mean, my class, it was kind of spread out. Like we had the smarter kids and the not so smart kids. But it was like an accelerated program, so they were like not smart for the accelerated program. They were pretty smart in general, but compared to like the accelerated program upper level kids, they weren't that smart. And so it's pretty spread out, and it was funny to see like I was probably in the middle of that class just because I had no idea what was going on the whole year in biology. But we had this one project where we had to take like these flashcards the teacher gave us, and we had to prepare a presentation and then do like a report and present it the next class. And so this was like, I think 3 months before the class is over, and basically the last month and a half you're just doing test review. So me and my friend had already given up, and of course we were partnered together. So we're just sitting there playing with Rubik's Cubes the whole class. And the teacher comes over, she's like, "Are you finished?" And we're like, yeah, we're done already. Obviously we weren't, we had done nothing. And so the next class, one of the smarter kids gets up, and he has like this whole presentation. He built like a whole model because he had to do something about cellular respiration, I think, or meiosis. I don't know, the one where the cells split. Mitosis. I can't remember. And
wait, when the cells when they
split and become 2.
That's mitosis, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was mitosis or meiosis because I know meiosis
is when like they split, but they only take half of the genetic information. Like meiosis.
Oh right. Okay. Like yeah. Okay, I remember now. Thanks for that. Anyway, so he built like this whole model explaining like how the process happened, like what were the factors that caused it, and when a cell knew to do that, and all this. And it looked like something you'd have to do for college, and looking back, it kind of is. And so he's sitting up there doing his presentation. It was an excellent presentation, and she ended up giving him a 95 for the presentation. So then it's me and my retard friend's turn to get up there. We're sitting up there with our Rubik's Cubes in our pockets, and we had the little flashcard she gave us, and it was on photosynthesis. So luckily I learned about that in 5th grade. So me and him were sitting there like BSing the whole thing, just like kind of like improving it, like oh yeah, photosynthesis, when the plant takes the energy from the sun and uses it to grow. And we sat up there for like 15 minutes just spewing absolute nonsense, and she literally stands up and starts clapping. She's like, that was one of the most excellent presentations I've ever seen in my years of teaching. And we had done no preparation. The kid that did the model was so mad at us. It was fun. We got 100 on it. We got 100, and we didn't make a model. We had a little slideshow that had like basically everything we were saying. We were basically reading off of it, and I had it on my phone, so because I couldn't be asked to remember it. I'm just sitting there like reading it off my phone, and my friend's like peeking off it too, so he can say some things too. And she's like, "That's one of the excellent," because we're both pretty good at English, and we're also pretty good at BSing things. So we had like huge words in there. We made sentences sound a lot more complicated than they actually were. Like, for example, a sentence that's basically saying, the plant takes energy from the sun, would end up being like a 15-word sentence. So we just like both BS'd it so hard that she's like, that is an excellent project. It was fun. It was definitely fun. It was one of the better experiences in her class. Other than the one time this one kid actually like got up and yelled at her for being such a bad teacher, and she went out into the hall and started crying.
No.
I felt bad for her, but like at the same time, she was such a bad teacher.
Honestly, like in year 10, basically we had our like religion teacher was just so shit. Like couldn't control the class. I was in like bottom set RS, so it was like we were like the dumb kids. So we just fucked about. We just like brought like beach balls and shit, and we just started throwing out beach balls in the class. But basically, this teacher should do like half a lesson learning, and she just like the other half a lesson should just stick on like the Hunger Games or something on the projector.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, but then she left like after the one term. So
yeah, my biology teacher ended up getting fired because my mom and a few other the parents were so pissed off with how she was like failing kids. Like, she'd give tests, and at the beginning of the year she didn't know how to curve them. I don't know if you know what curving a test means, but basically
when you set the grade boundaries. So
so basically you take the highest grade in the class, and then you set that to 100, and then you scale all the other grades off of it. So she didn't know how to do that at the beginning of the year, and they eventually brought in a teacher to help her with that. But for so long she didn't know how. So like all of the class was getting like D's and F's on her tests, and like at one point our class average for both of her classes was like a 64. So it was so bad, and she ended up getting fired at the end of the year because so many parents were pissed off with her.
Going back to that like chemistry teacher who like he had a doctorate and just couldn't teach for shit. Basically, he doesn't teach GCSE anymore. Like, he's not allowed to teach God. The higher level stuff anymore.
Wow.
He can only teach like year 7 through to 9. So.
Dang, they literally told him you're not allowed.
Yeah, I think there's been so many complaints. It's just not just for students, like parents.
Like, in your perspective, he got demoted to middle school teaching only.
Yeah, see here, you just get like a slap on the wrist if you're a bad teacher. You get fired, and then you go find a new teaching job. Like, she got fired from Arizona State University, it's like a party school for America, basically. And so she ended up moving up to where I was, in high school, and she became a teacher there at the community college. And she ended up getting fired from the community college and came to teach at our high school. So she got demoted twice, and now she's back at the community college teaching. So it's kind of like a slap on the wrist, and they just don't care. Honestly, they're like, okay, you're a bad teacher. We don't want you here. Go find somewhere else to work.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's not a slap on the wrist to get fired, but it's not like you get told you're not allowed to teach that anymore. Like, as long as you have your teaching license, you can teach.
Yeah.
I have some pretty bad teachers here. It's like it's a mix, but most of I mean, like some of them like they just they don't know how to teach, or they're teaching at like a really high college degree level. My English teacher this year was like, basically she did this thing. We were reading like 1984 or 87. I forgot the title. You know what I'm talking about.
That is such a hard book to read. Right?
I liked it. I thought it was a good book, but
yeah, it's a good book. It's just hard to read.
Like, we had to write like 16 paragraphs about it every night. I'm like, this is an English 10 intensified class. What are you doing?
Dude, college isn't even that bad.
Safe to say, I gave up on that. I had it. I took a D in that third quarter.
Yeah.
It is just the amount of stuff she's doing is so insane. It was a miracle that coronavirus got me in class.
Yeah. Oh I mean, college isn't even that bad though. Like this whole time when I was in high school, the whole time I had friends in college and they're like, yeah, it's really not that bad. Like there's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but it's not that bad. And then I get to college and I'm like, oh, it's actually not that bad. Because I had a lot of teachers in my high school that kind of prepared us for college. They were like my AP Calc teacher was like it's called Advanced Placement Calc for those non-Americans. And it's basically like a college level class. You can, like, if you pass it, you can take a test and earn college credits, so you don't have to take it in college. And she's like, this is how everything's going to be. And there's like lectures you have to watch online. And then he had to write like a summary of a math problem. And, it's not that bad. It's really not. I mean, there's definitely a lot of work. Again, don't get me wrong. But, some of the stuff that they prepare you for, quote unquote, prepare, it's, I don't know. I'm kind of thankful, honestly, because they had me worried for basically no reason. But because I was so worried about it, I came into college thinking like, okay, it's going to be really tough. I need to focus. And then like that sense of, oh, I'm actually a lot more prepared for this than I thought I was. It's actually a lot easier than they made it out to be. And like, I don't know, it kind of helped me relax a little bit more with it. And like, because I had planned for so much work to do, I ended up finding a lot more time on my schedule where I had like blocks of time reserved off for school, not friends. So like I could use that extra time to go to the gym or, to have lunch, because sometimes I'd have to skip lunch or, get ahead in one of the classes. It's definitely something I'm thankful for from my high school. One of the few things, but I don't know. Overall, it was definitely something I'm happy, or I guess thankful for, like I said.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then again, like high school's a lot different too. Like you're going to class every day. College, you have like 3 classes a week, sometimes 3 to 5 classes. Whereas high school, you have 7 classes. So that's already a difference. Your assignments are going to take you a lot more time, but I don't know. I don't think Joe and Trit are in college, right?
No.
I'm in British college,
I'm a
which is a bit
sophomore in high
different.
school.
Okay, yeah. But, you have like reports and stuff that you have to write, and it's like...
Yeah.
It's like, where, homework in high school would take you like 30 minutes. Homework in college would take you like an hour to 2 hours. And then there's a lot more studying, but, your class is also like... Sometimes a lecture is like 40 minutes, as opposed to my high school had 1.5 hour classes. So that's already a big difference there too. And you have a lot more time in your day as well, because you get your classes, like if you start your first class at 8, you can be done by like 12 or 2 o'clock. So when I was in high school, I'd get there at 7 and I'd be there till 7 because I did sports and stuff. So I was literally at school for 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot different in college.
Yeah, see, when I was in school,
that's pretty much the schedule. Sorry.
Yeah, but when I was at school, I just basically didn't spend any more time than I needed to in there. Just I'll go in like 8:30 in the morning, just leave at 3, like 3:05. Just
Yeah.
I wouldn't spend any more time than I just needed to.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, my classes were over at like 5, and then I'd have sports till 7. So, you
yeah,
know, I could have chosen not to do sports, but even then, 7 to 5 is still a good amount of times. More time than I want to
Yeah.
spend. It's cool.
yeah,
I mean, I was on a pretty similar schedule. I would get to school at like 7:30, and then I would be leaving school 7:30 because you know I was doing rowing and all.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, it's worth it. But I mean, like I said, that stupid English teacher making me do 16 paragraphs essays every night. Like
Yeah.
it gets kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's another thing that pisses me off, at least it used to, with teachers, is they'd forget that you have other classes. Like, you'd have
Yep.
this huge assignment for English, and then you'd have a huge assignment for physics, then you'd have, like, a packet for math, and you'd end up doing, like, 5 hours of homework spaced out over all of that. You're getting home at 7. That's already, like, what, 12 o'clock? Then, you know, you have
Yeah.
to take a break for dinner in there, so you'd be going to bed like 12:30, 1 o'clock for homework, because of homework.
And
And
I remember
it's
I was like,
yeah.
yeah, I brought that up to my to the English teacher because I was also in like AP government and we had a lot of homework.
Yeah, AP
Like-
government is pretty
like,
tough. I heard about that.
I expect it from AP government. I don't expect it from English, like an intensified English class.
Right.
And I was like, I understand, like, it's an intensified class. It's supposed to be a lot of work, but it's at the point where it's excessive and it's really it's hurting my performance in my other classes just because I have to devote so much time to it. And she's like, oh well, you should have thought about that when you were picking your classes. Or,
Yeah, that's another thing that pissed me off too,
like,
because
I don't give a
yeah, but like for my 12th grade year is the first year. Like they do it now for every student, but my final year was the first year they started this program, and the program is, instead of your teachers from your current year picking your classes for next year, they suggest them, but you can have the ultimate decision. And I was so thankful for that, because my my pre-calc teacher teamed up with my honors physics teacher, and they had me taking. So you have 4 core classes and then 3 electives for a total of 7 classes. But you can take like a second math as one of your electives. So
Yeah, further
my
math. Yeah.
what?
It's a like further math, like advanced
Yeah,
math.
yeah. Yeah, so not really further. Like, for example, my physics teacher and pre-calc teacher got together and like, yeah, I think you know, he should be doing this. And their plan for me was to take AP Calc, which is a really tough class because it was going to be the AP Calc BC, which is like the back end of Calc instead of AB. So it's like a lot faster paced. And then they wanted me to take AP Stat, which is theoretical math, and I hate theoretical math. And then they wanted me to take AP Physics, which is a really hard class. It's one of the hardest AP classes in the College Board program. And then they also wanted, on top of that, they wanted me to take AP Chem. So they wanted me to take 2 maths, 2 sciences, all 4 of them college classes, plus my college composition, which is a college English class, and my my personal finance class, which is just a lot of like economics you have to do. So it's like easy work, but it just takes a long time. And when they had first suggested it, the new program wasn't implemented, so I didn't really have a say in the matter. And I was literally crying to my counselor. I'm like, please don't make me do this. Please don't make me do this. And like a month later, she called me and she's like, I have really good news for you. And like, you can choose your classes now. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I literally would have died.
Bro, that is a crazy schedule, dude. How does anyone have time for that? Like, holy shit.
There was a kid in my class who did that. He took a total of 27 AP classes during his time in high school. and that's like literally all of the AP classes except for like the language classes, because he took Latin, so he could only do the AP Latin. He couldn't do AP Spanish or AP German or AP French, so he didn't do those three. But every other AP course he took, he did his 7 classes in school, and then he had like 4 online, and so and he also went to summer school one of the years to do it, and he ended up graduating 2 years earlier. But the way he did it, he like partnered with one of the colleges nearby and started his college studies while he was still in high school. So he graduated when he was a sophomore basically, but he still attended the school there and took free classes with the college near us. So he's basically a college student at our high school, and the only difference was he wasn't paying the tuition. So it's kind of genius.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And so he would have been our valedictorian, but they blocked him because he graduated as a sophomore, so he couldn't do it as a senior. He couldn't be the valedictorian as a
Oh
senior.
my god.
So
Success.
I feel bad for him because like he really worked for it and he should have been, but they blocked him, and I felt bad. But he was a really smart kid. He was a genius, and somehow on top of all that, he found a way to have a social life. Like he had more of a social life than I did in high school.
How?
You
I
did?
don't know.
Okay.
Thanks for coming to
Thank
my
you.
TED Talk, everyone.
Yeah.
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 Sorry if I talk too much. I get passionate when I get on a topic.
That is
it was
chill. That is fine.
it was a nice conversation with you guys.
Yes, this is
Definitely.
interesting. I like
Pretty
this.
good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing this. I appreciate it.
No worries.
It's too bad,
bro.
freaking Avici couldn't do it, but
Couldn't do the podcast that we planned.
No.
yeah.
It's okay.
Great,
All right,
good.
well,
Pretty good.
I'm gonna head out. So
Yeah.
thank you guys again.
Do the
Hey.
outro.
All for listening.
Do the
Oh,
outro.
Okay, thank you guys for listening to the 404 podcast. We're sorry Avicii couldn't make it, but we'll plan on doing another one, and I think the roster for the next one is going to be with Emmy and Steve. Could change, but that's what it looks like next. All right, thank you guys.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
And
Don't forget to
Good
brush your
job.
teeth.